We're going.
We're good? Dude, I was watching this podcast yesterday. This actually reminds me. I was actually excited to film this today because I was watching this podcast yesterday. And it was basically a group of kids, boys, who were like my age, maybe a little bit older. Might have been like 17, 18. But it was 4 of them. And they all had like such a distinct personality. Like there was this one guy who was kind of like shy. There's one guy who's like the leader of the podcast. He kind of runs all this equipment. There's one guy who's like the funny guy, and there's another guy who's just an absolute nerd who just. And dude, I'm not a big like podcast watcher. Like I've honestly never watched podcasts. Okay.
No, it's the thing is that you're used to the SM7B, which picks up from all angles.
Right.
We got the cheapo mic, so you gotta put it as close to your. I mean, you should know about this, right? Like, just point it, look at it.
Yeah, I guess. All right, there we go.
Hold on.
Is that good? I just want to be peeking or clipping. There we go. Is that good?
You always gotta make sure that your mic has the right support.
Right. Just like me. Anyways, I'm not an avid podcast watcher. I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. But for some reason, this podcast like resonated with me so much, and I watched like 3 episodes. And another good thing about them is that the podcasts are like short, like they're like 20 minutes long, which I like that because it doesn't take much of your time. You just click on a video, and it was the first time that I realized that like somebody who's not a like company, like their marketing tactic worked on me perfectly, like I saw them on my For You page, and I was like a clip of them talking, and I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious, I want to go check out their podcast. Led me to a link, which led me to their channel, which led me to watch 3 of their videos, and I was like, man, that's just good marketing. Like, it worked.
So exactly,
I was the consumer.
Exactly like nothing we're doing. Got it.
It's actually exactly what we're doing. It's just not working for some reason. But I say all that to say that maybe the quality of the podcasts are going to improve now that I've seen one that I resonate with.
Oh, hopefully, yeah. I mean.
So anyways.
Did you see the video that I sent you about the TikTok podcaster kids that were talking about what you have? The dot on the little dot.
Little dot.
You were born with that little hole in your ear.
Oh, the little hole in my ear, yeah.
And the kids are saying that supposedly, like...
It's a mutation.
You have superpowers or something, I don't know.
It's a mutation. That's actually very scientifically accurate. The little hole, I have 2 little holes on my ears right here. And when I was in elementary school, I used to always, people used to always say like, oh, look at him, you got his ears pierced. Oh, you got his ears pierced. Oh.
How would you get your ear pierced? Like,
don't know, and it used to drive me crazy because I would never be able to explain to them that I didn't get my ears pierced. And back then, like, girls had cooties, and so like girls got their ears pierced. So I thought that they were saying that I had cooties. So they were like, oh, this guy's got his ears pierced. Oh, he's a girly. And I'm like, I didn't get my ears pierced.
It's not even your ear.
It's not. Well, it's on my ear. It's just up here where nobody is even physically possible to get their ears pierced. Now I have my hair covering it, and I think that like subconsciously the reason why I have it. Listen. Is that perfect? Is that good for you,
good,
Mr. Mike Man?
Thank you.
Is that good? Is that okay? Anyways.
Gotta do a lot around here. I gotta produce. I gotta.
Right. Anywho, the point I'm getting to is that this is a genetic mutation, just like any genetic mutation is. I don't know anything about genetic mutations, but it's like some kind of chromosome alignment. It is. That's how mutations work.
I don't know why I laughed. I'm sorry.
I think that you're throwing darkness.
Don't say it.
I think you're throwing darkness to a certain group of people.
No, absolutely not. How dare you, bro?
Very disrespectful.
How dare you?
It's a chromosome alignment. It is an alignment. It's just like that one podcast where that one guy was on it. He goes, I'm gonna say it again. Don't laugh. If you laugh, I'm leaving. It's a chromosome alignment. That caused a genetic mutation.
Oh, guess what?
What?
I had to hit record on the thing.
Is it actually not recorded?
No.
Is it actually not recording? Has it not been recording the entire time?
We spent 5 minutes talking without recording. I swear to God, we are the worst podcasters.
Has it actually not been recording?
It has not been recording.
We just recorded the best 5 minutes of a podcast we've ever done, and it wasn't recording the entire time. Are you joking me right now?
This has got to be the worst podcast ever. We are so bad at this.
Literally the best 5 minutes of a podcast we've ever filmed, and you didn't hit record.
Hold up.
Wow.
And we're online. I mean, it's recorded on the phone, so we'll...
Oh, great. Yeah. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, it's going to have terrible audio for the first 5 minutes.
We'll do terrible audio so people can understand.
So if anybody even makes it past the 5 minute mark on watching the terrible audio, they're going to be like, oh, finally they got good audio. No, that's terrible. Wow. Well, I have nothing left to say because I've already said it all and it wasn't recording. So, wow.
So did you hear the news yesterday about Mr. Potato Head?
Mr. Potato Head? What's happened with Mr. Potato Head?
So I'm gonna go into wild territory here, right? We're gonna lose half our audience probably after we talk about this.
Oh no, we're gonna go from 5 to 2.
2, yeah, it's gonna be horrible.
2.5.
So the company that makes Mr. Potato Head decided that they were gonna change Mr. Potato Head's name, and from Mr. Potato Head to just Potato Head.
Like it's some kind of off-brand thing.
They took the Mr. out so kids would give Potato Head whatever gender.
Okay.
So basically Mr. Potato Head just became non-binary.
Okay, but that's what Mrs. Potato Head is for. You have Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head so
Not
that
anymore.
both genders can play with it.
No, because now if you want to have a non-binary potato with a female potato, you can. I don't know how it works.
Do potatoes have genetics?
Well, yeah, everything has genetics.
Right, it has, but does it have
I don't know what
gender genetics?
I don't know what part of the plant. You got to look up what plant is in potatoes. Which plant is the one that grows the potato? Is it the female plant or is it the male plant?
Okay, but
because for example, in marijuana, never mind.
What's changing about Mr. Potato Head? Just the name?
Yeah, it's going from Mr. Potato Head.
They take off the mustache
to Potato Head.
They take off the mustache, and it's just gonna be a potato with a face.
I don't know if they're going to take out the mustache. I think that's for the kids to figure out if they want a non-male potato to
5-year-olds do not care. What's the age group what's the demographic for Mr. Potato Head? It's 0 to 5-year-olds. Nobody over 5 is playing with Mr. Potato Head because they're in school by that point.
Well, bro, they want to, they don't want to force gender on 0 to 5-year-olds.
5-year-olds don't care. They don't care.
Apparently they do.
It's not even about the kids, bro. It's not about the kids at all. It's about the fact that my generation is starting to begin to raise children and they're offended by everything.
So then I started thinking about this, right? I was like, well, what's going to happen to Superman?
Oh no.
Is it a bird? No. Is it a plane?
No. Super.
Don't say it.
Super thing.
Yeah, I heard that they're gonna take the cape and then use it as a skirt.
Oh, perfect. Very.
So it'll be more non-binary. Listen, man,
I keep his face and everything, but
to be serious, I really respect people who have, who feel a certain way about their sexuality, and I don't pretend to know what that feels like, or what they should choose to do. I just hope that society is not influencing gullible kids into becoming something that they're not. And I think that society already pushes so many things on us. Social media already pushes so many things on us, that sexuality and gender should not be one of them. And it could be that as we are trying to free our children from the restrictions of society imposed sexual norms, we are swinging the pendulum way too far the other side, and we are imposing our kids with the same thing by trying to make them freer.
People forget what do people want, right? Please tell me that's recording this time.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Okay.
good. We're professionals here. What are you talking about?
Okay, right. Listen, Mr. Professional, you got a booger hanging out of your nose.
Oh, beautiful.
Anyways, so, what was I gonna say? Okay, what do people want, right? Especially LGBTQ community, the whole, all different races, all different ethnicities. What do they want, right? They want equality. What is equality? It's when everybody is treated equally. Which, will that ever happen? No. But if that's what they're striving to do, then why are they lifting certain things on a pedestal over what the societal norm is, instead of just accepting that you can be whatever? You know what I mean? If I were to ever have kids, right? Just in theory, if I would, for sake of being equal, it would never be like you're supposed to like girls, you're supposed to like boys. And if you come to me and say that you like the same gender, I'm not going to be like, that's abnormal.
Well, let's talk about this real
right?
quick. Because
that's what equality is.
Let's give people some context. There was a point in your life when you were very young, right?
Right.
When you came to us and you told us that you thought you liked boys.
Right. That was third grade, by the way.
So there was a certain confusion there. I don't want people to get the wrong idea that we are judging people for being one way or the other.
I'm doing the exact opposite. What I'm saying is that...
But talk a little bit more about how you felt and how it looked like. At least now it feels like it was something that you were seeing so many other places that maybe you thought.
You know what? Maybe, right? Maybe. With my generation, we're the first generation to be born into having access to the internet and having access to people across the world, right? And when you have that access from literally the time you're born, which the effect that it has is what we're seeing today. Almost everybody thinks that they are either bisexual or gay. And 90% of those people, I don't want to say 90, a lot of those people, most of them, I think, that I see maybe just say that because that is becoming what is the norm nowadays. And what's happening is, like you said, is that before it was like, if you're gay, you're a sinner and you're going to hell and we don't like you. And our generation has risen up and been like, no, everybody's gay now, screw you. But a lot of those people aren't actually. And if you are, what needs to happen is we need to, as a society, what am I, Joe Rogan? What we need to do is that we need to be like, screw heterosexual, homosexual, it's all the same. It doesn't matter. Love is love, whatever. All you need to know, all the context that people in the new generations need to know is that man and woman is how you reproduce, and anything else is love, and it doesn't matter, but just know that there's no reproduction that's going to be happening that way. So that's all the context you need. There's no normal and not normal anymore. I don't think there should be. I think that you should be, I love that person and that person because that person's beautiful and I like their personality and that person's beautiful too. And it doesn't matter about gender. I'm not saying erase gender from the face of the earth. What I'm saying is that there should be no more like abnormal and normal when it comes to heterosexual and homosexual. I think that it should be literally like this. No, it doesn't matter. I think it should be you're born and you just know that if you see somebody and you get to know somebody that you want to date romantically or you see in a romantic way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they are biologically or what they are in, whatever, what they identify as, whatever. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I don't think it should matter, and I think that it shouldn't matter in the fact that heterosexual is normal or that homosexual is normal or bi or whatever. I think that neither of them should be normal. I think that normal, it should be erased when it comes to sexuality, and I think that's the only way that just like what did Morgan Freeman say about racism? It's the same idea. Morgan Freeman was like, if you want to end racism, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. There should be no Black History Month. There should be, just like there's no anything else History Month, because when you're doing that, you're literally not speaking out, but you're literally making the point that there is like a group of people being discriminated. And if we erase that, if we just stop talking about it, then does it really exist? It doesn't.
You know the great thing about not having an audience? You literally
can't get
cannot
canceled.
canceled.
Can't
bro.
get canceled.
It feels good. It feels really good. Do you think that there are kids out there that don't feel like they fit anywhere? They're lonely. They have very little friends. They go to school if their schools are open, or they used to go to school when they were able to. Had no friends, got bullied, never fit into anywhere. And all of a sudden, they see a group of kids that kind of like him, and they welcome him or her in to this group.
Right.
And they are a group of either trans kids or, non-binary kids. And all of a sudden, because this kid feels like he's welcome into this community where he's not welcome anywhere else, that now he has to be that as well, even though he doesn't really physically feel it.
Feel that way.
Like, for example, remember emo kids? Do they still have emo kids out there?
Yes.
Oh, the kids that used to dress all in black. What were they called?
Yes. Goth, emo. all that
Goth,
stuff.
emo.
Yes.
That was big when I was in high school, right? And I always thought, I was like, I wonder why. I wonder if, like, I befriended some of these kids and they were cool with me, if I would feel compelled to start dressing like them, because I would want to fit in more into this group of new friends that I had.
Well, yes, that's just the way it is with anything. But like I said, that problem would literally be erased if it wasn't like that. Oh, that's a group of transgender people. That's a group of gay people. Eliminate the groups, dude.
Would it though?
Eliminate the groups.
It's a human thing. We're tribalistic
I'm not
from
saying
the time
eliminate
we're born.
but don't like look at a group of people and be like, oh, I don't look at it like I don't look at a trans person and be like, oh, that's a trans person.
Yeah,
Just like
that
I don't
will
look.
literally end most of the world's problems with racism, with nationalism, with tribalism.
It's just a person. It's
But
just a person.
It feels like we're not able to do that because that's programmed in our DNA to separate ourselves with the people that are different from us and stick together with the people that are, and stay in conflict with the people that are not.
Bro, the question, the day that the question, are you heterosexual? Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you whatever? The day that question is, oh, it looks so much better. The day that question is no longer relevant, like you don't feel the need to go up to somebody and like, oh, are you gay? Are you heterosexual? Are you whatever? The day that doesn't exist anymore is the day that there's no more homophobia, no more any of that stuff.
But
no
I
more
feel like
discrimination.
now we're trying so hard to do that it's going the other way.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That now being straight is almost being an outcast.
Right.
If you're straight, or if you think that, you're not either non-binary or at least not bisexual, that you are now what's wrong with society that people are trying to fix.
Not even that you're what's wrong, but like you're almost boring in a way. Like there's no interest to you, which is why, bro, if I see a person, and if this was the way that everybody was, if I see a person that's good looking, guy, girl, whatever, dude, that's a good looking person. It doesn't matter. I never am like, oh, I wonder if I'm gay. I wonder if I'm straight. I could give literally two craps, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether I date a guy or a girl tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be like, oh, everybody, I'm gay and like whatever. Cause it's just love, dude. When it comes to love, what does it matter? What you enjoy being romantically attracted to, what you are naturally romantically attracted to, I don't think it matters so much to be like, put a label on yourself as I'm gay, I'm straight. Nobody should have the label of because then when it changes, dude, not only do you embarrass yourself, or you feel like you embarrass yourself, but also you confuse a lot of people. So instead of putting that label on everybody, like I'm a member of the LGBTQ+, I'm not a member of everybody should just be like, I am a person who loves other people. I have a preference toward males. I have a preference toward females. Or I don't have a preference at all and I like whoever. That's the way it really should be. Will it ever be like that? Absolutely not. But that's the way it should be. And if we all collectively came together and was like, hey guys, screw the labels, well, let's just be people, like, the world would be a much better place.
Well, I read this book a long time ago called 2312 by Kim Stanley Robinson, who's like one of the top science fiction writers.
Right.
And the book is 12, and it's based in the year 2312, and by that time humanity has spread out throughout the solar system. You know, they inhabit several planets in the solar system and other places, and because of that, you know, humans are no longer being born and evolving only on Earth. Now that biology has transferred over to so many other places, and they're evolving and changing biologically based on, you know, the biological aspects of the way of the places where they're living, the infrastructure, the, you know, everything.
Right.
So there's a completely wide range of human beings that are completely different. Like some of them are like really short and tiny. Some of them are like really tall. Some of them have animalistic features. A lot of them have both sexes. So a lot of them don't have a specific sex as male or female. Some of them are both. And when I read that book, it was a few years back. I was like, that is so weird. You know, you feel like, is this really where humanity is going? And now seeing everything that's happening,
It really
I'm
might
like,
be.
it really might be exactly where humanity is going.
Yeah, for sure.
That book has one of the most compelling but weird scenes of love making
Oh yeah, I
I
think,
have read in a book, because both of the people that make love have both sexes.
yeah.
Like, for example, the guy, right, the character that represents himself as male was the one in the culture that he came from. Families were not just two people. He had like 8 different wives and husbands, right? But he was the one that carried all their children. He gave birth to all their children, yet he was a masculine character.
Right.
So he has sex with this girl. He ends up marrying her. Spoiler alert if you haven't read 2312. And again, I might have some of the details wrong. I read this book a long time ago, but it's really good. She also has male and female sex organs. It was
So
it was a hoot.
my question, there actually is people who are born with
Yeah, of course.
both of them. And my question, dude, it might sound silly, but I'm genuinely like confused. Could they impregnate themselves? In theory? And if they did, would that baby ever be able to come out anything close to normal?
First part of that question, I have no idea. I've never looked into that, but now I will.
In theory, if they could, let's just say, right? In theory, if the baby was born, do you think it would be similar to the babies of like when you have like an
Inbred
incest
babies?
Yes, when you have like an incest situation, like usually the children come out and they have like some kind of problem, like
Oh yeah.
they have to be in a wheelchair or something, or they have some kind of like handicap. Do you think that it would be the same situation if you were to do it
Or
with yourself?
worse, probably.
Probably
because
worse.
There's no.
The genetic, it's like the same genes coming
Now-
together. Do you think
now-
that you would give birth to a clone of yourself?
No. Now,
Oh.
here's the thing, because you need an X and a Y chromosome to create a kid, right?
Right. So you can't have both,
XXXY, right?
right?
You can't have both chromosomes. I believe that the people that are, I don't remember what they call them, and I don't even know if it's an appropriate term to use anymore. Who knows? But people that are both with both sexual organs,
Right.
they're not. They're born with both sexual organs, but I believe biologically they're still either.
XX or XY.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They just have 2 organs. I don't think they have everything.
So
as far
a
as-
guy might still have like a lot of more testosterone and grow chest hair and have
Right.
masculine features.
Like I remember, and this was back in the 80s. My dad used to always tell this story. and again, the 80s were a very different time, right? He knew somebody that had a kid that was born with both sexes,
Hmm.
right? So the doctor told him, we can do surgery on him and fix it, right? But you guys have to decide, like,
Which one you want?
what's it gonna be? So they were like, we feel like it's a girl, so let's just leave her, let's make her a girl. So they took the male organ off. So this little girl grew up
But it
being a
also was
little
probably a
girl.
lot less complicated to take off the male organ instead of having to do all the surgery to get
That
rid of it.
makes sense as well. However, when that girl grew up, she was a boy. She
Oh,
was
really?
masculine. Yeah, she played with boys. She was masculine, dressed like boys, everything. And I think I don't remember well, but I think she ended up becoming a lesbian because
probably had the
physically speaking,
XY chromosome.
she was more male than female,
Yeah,
even though she had the female sex organ. So,
that's wild.
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea.
That's
All,
wild.
all I know, man, is that with situations like that, you can't judge. You have to use compassion and understanding. You don't know what a human being feels like or is going through unless you're living inside that body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you really have to use compassion and understanding. You have to let your kids grow before they make any big decisions about their body and their lives. I know that's an unpopular opinion,
Yeah.
but listen, I came from a religion that said we don't baptize kids at birth because kids don't know what they're doing at birth, right? So if you baptize a kid as Christian when they're born, that kid might choose not to be a Christian later on.
Yeah.
So I got baptized at 11 years old.
Hmm.
Guess what? Still had no idea what I wanted. Just because you have a thinking brain at
Yeah.
11 years old doesn't know that you know what you want when you become an adult. And I didn't want to be part of that religion, and now I'm paying the price for it.
Yeah.
Because in my religion that I came from, becoming baptized is a contract for life that you're not able to break that easily. Imagine that kind of a decision with your sexuality.
Yeah.
One
You
thing is
really-
saying explore, like explore your sexuality, explore yourself, come to grips with who you are, go out there in the world and really find out what your identity is composed of. So at the end of the day, when you come back from that entire length of living, you can come back and make a decision without any regrets than, hey, that decision's already been made 20 years ago and you can't
Right.
change it anymore.
Yeah.
How is that illogical to some people? I want to hear about the other side.
Right.
Because if you let your kid at whatever age act any way they feel comfortable, be whoever they want to be, explore themselves in a free way sexually and physically without having to do permanent surgery on them, I don't know how that is detrimental to a child
Right.
unless that child is being brainwashed in some way. Bro, we don't allow kids to get tattoos. Why? Because they're permanent.
And
Well,
they
you
could
would-
regret it because
you
they
could
don't
regret
have
it
a
later.
fully
If
developed
we
brain.
don't let kids get tattoos because they're permanent, how are we letting kids change their sexual organs?
Right.
Is it because that's the movement? Because the movement now is the freedom to decide? Is it because now it's the right thing to do in our minds? Is it because society is telling us that's what we need to do and society criticizes us if we say otherwise?
Yeah. I do hear what you're saying, bro. I hear what you're saying.
I don't know, man. It's
Picking up
scary.
what you're putting down.
And I see things becoming really detrimental to some children when they grow up, because some of them are going to be very happy, some of them are going to never regret their decision and be happy that they did what they did and that their parents allowed them to do what they do. Some of them are not. And some of them are going to resent their parents for letting them do that. Some of them are going to resent themselves or their bodies. And once again, they're going to be in the same problem that they were trying to avoid to begin with, was feeling out of place in their own bodies.
And the second time, it's going to be 10 times worse because they're going to know that they had the choice.
Correct.
And that's just the way it is, bro. Dude, I think about it all the time. Just talking about like the future and stuff. Like, you ever see a meme, dude? And it's like in the comments, you see the people going, "Try explaining this to somebody 2 years ago," because like it would have made no sense. Like these quarantine memes, like if you try to explain them to somebody in 2015, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I was thinking this morning. I was like, dude, how many future memes are gonna be like, "Oh, try explaining this to somebody in 2021."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Dude. Oh, speaking of which, I had this crazy idea for this like literally like 60-second short film, and I almost filmed it because of how quickly I could do it. And like the idea is like, what if there was this kid, right? Like this teenager or young kid,
Mm-hmm.
who was so convinced that his future self would come back in time and like rescue him, that he dropped out of school, sat on a bench every day, did nothing, because he was so convinced that when he grew up, he would go back, like when time travel was available, he would travel back in time and save himself. So he was so
Save himself
convinced.
from what?
I get like, let's just say he had a
Making the wrong decisions
bad,
or something?
no, let's just say he had like a bad home life or whatever.
Mm.
Let's just say, right? I'm making this up on the spot, but let's just say he had a bad home life, and you know he was came from abusive parents and abusing siblings or whatever. And he's like, I'm so convinced that my future self is gonna come back and save me that I'm just gonna drop out of school and I'm gonna sit on this bench every day, 12 hours a day. I'm gonna sleep, eat, and sit on this bench, and I'm gonna wait. And every single day, and everybody like in town like is like, oh, that guy's crazy. What does he do? He's just that guy, look at that 12-year-old kid. He's sitting over there on that bench. He does it every single day. And this kid, and he starts growing old and growing old and growing old, and eventually he like gets really old, and like he's like on his deathbed, and like time travel is just starting to like, you know what I mean? Like help me out here. Like I don't know where the story would really go from there, but I think it's a cool premise. You know what I mean? Like he grows old and like it never happens, and he finally grows up, and then somehow he ends up going back in time and saving himself and like starting the loop. I think it's a cool premise.
There's a story there for sure.
Something is there. I don't know. I literally I like dreamt it last night, and something is there. And I was like, I gotta film this for like a TikTok. I think it'd be really cool. But
one of those looping TikToks.
Oh, I mean that's kind of cringy to me, but it would be cool. But there's something there, right? Like there's definitely some kind of like short story.
You know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of that scientist. I forgot the name. You can look it up. This was years ago. He was trying to prove that there was an afterlife.
Right.
Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
He ends up killing himself.
Oh, really?
So he can prove that there's an afterlife. So you got to look it up. I don't know the story really well, but yeah, it's a true story. He decided to kill himself so he could come back as a ghost or something and prove to people that he was living somewhere else.
So was he like, hey guys, I'm gonna move this paper when I die. If it moves, there's an afterlife. Gotcha.
Don't take my word for it, but I think he had left something for his brother. Something. He had it all prepared to where he would come back and prove to people. And everybody knew it. So like they knew they were working on it. So
elaborate plan, and very interesting. But
what if there is an afterlife, right? What if like whenever you die, your consciousness goes into like a whole new dimension, like a fifth dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you try, and they're like, oh no, like the reality here is just like the reality there. They just don't match. It's not like you can come back, right?
Right.
And talk and communicate. So the guy really is living somewhere. He just can't go back to this reality because his physical or his consciousness doesn't have the dimensionality of interacting with the old reality that he was in.
It's possible. It's entirely possible. Have you seen that Joe Rogan thing? It's entirely possible. You haven't seen it. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. Anyways,
love you, Joe.
Yes, thanks for watching our podcast. So like my problem with the whole afterlife theory, dude, is that why do people think that not existing afterlife is any different than not existing before life? And here's the argument that a lot of people make. Oh, well, you can't destroy energy. Well, you also can't create energy. So the energy that created you has literally always existed. Yeah. Literally always.
The only difference between existence and not existence is that you don't remember it. So people tell you, oh, well, what's the difference between before and then? It's like it's the same thing because you don't remember it. It doesn't mean that. I hate the argument of people going, well, it's just like before you were born. There was nothing. You don't know because you don't remember. Yes, that's the probability, but you can't say that there's nothing when you're asleep simply because you don't remember it. You know, there are people that have accidents, right? They have gotten hit in a car and they don't remember their past lives. Did that past life exist?
No.
It didn't exist. It didn't exist to them.
Not to them, no. You're okay. The way I look at it, bro, is that your reality, like one's individual reality, literally revolves around them. Whatever happens in your reality, whether it's different from mine or not, it's literally real to you. Your reality revolves around you. Like it's so hard to explain, but everything that happens in your life revolves around you because you are the only one living it. You're the only one living your life. The only one.
You're talking about biocentrism.
That's exactly what it is.
Have you read that book? Did I give you that book to read?
No, you haven't given it to me.
It was written by a doctor that kind of came up with the same conclusion that your reality, your universe is biocentric to you. So he believes that just like in a video game, for example, like right now,
Right.
if I'm going to go to the bathroom doesn't exist. Right, as I move to the bathroom, the reality renders the bathroom pretty much, and it comes into existence.
Like
so,
in video games.
So your reality is conscious centric instead of physically centric.
It's exactly what it is. Like, okay, if you were able to escape your being, your mind, and just be nothing and like see reality for what it is, it's impossible because literally reality is determined by experiencing it. If you have no way of, if you have no medium for like receiving reality, reality doesn't exist.
Well, it's crazy that you say that because I've never done psychedelics. I will at some point. I just haven't had the opportunity to. But a lot of people that do psychedelics, like the toad venom, which is a 5-MeO-DMT, their experience whenever they go on this journey is that they no longer have a body.
Yeah.
They're like, it's really hard to explain. It feels like now you're everything.
Yeah.
Like there's no separation from reality or time or space. You're not a thing.
Right.
You're not a you. You are a complete assimilation of everything that is, because everything that is you, and you are everything that is.
And that's really what reality is like once you're living a life, like once you're living an individual life, you're just perceiving your reality, which like I said revolves in this little dome around you, and everywhere you go, like your reality just kind of follows you. But if you had the ability to escape your reality, you would experience every reality at the same time, because that's what reality is. Like a bunch of different beings. And like you said, everything is a being. Everything is a conscious being in a way. This chair that we're sitting on is somehow conscious. Those chess pieces, all conscious. Everything has some form of consciousness, whether it's very little or as much as us.
Now you're talking about panpsychism.
Man, you put labels on everything.
No, it's literally the scientific term.
Thermostat.
I was gonna go somewhere, and then therm came in and kind of destroyed
Therm
everything.
kind of just destroyed your thought process.
So panpsychism states that every part of matter is conscious at a certain level.
Well, that's entirely
And it's a theory that's interests a lot of very reputable scientists.
I'm
That's what mysterious consciousness is, dude. Like, we know so many things about the universe. We know so many things about the human body, how everything works. We still have no idea what consciousness is, how it works, why you can get a thought out of a material mass like a brain, right?
Yeah.
How does that generate an identity? I mean, you can grab a brain and it's just a mass. It's an organism. It's an organ like your liver, like a toe, like anything else.
And what's that made up of? It's made up of molecules and atoms and stuff like that. Like
it's made of the very same thing that makes up
mind-boggling.
everything else.
Yeah. It's like code. It's all code. Like, dude, to me, speaking of code, dude, I'm literally
this close to being absolutely convinced that this is literally a simulation, dude. You ever thought about it?
Of course.
I'm this far from like one more weird experience from being like, that's it, dude. Like, I don't care. It's a simulation, and that's why like even my like that doesn't mean that we're not conscious or anything, but like it's a simulation. Like once you die, your simulation character, whatever you want to call it, it ends. And I truly do believe that just the way you didn't exist before you were born is just the way you're gonna exist after you die. Like the energy has always been here and will always be here, but you're just you just don't exist. So like I've been feeling like how deja vu, it's impossible to explain it. It's just a feeling. You just feel it. You open a door, you walk into a room that you've never been, and you're like, I've done this before. Like this has happened before, and you can't even remember it. Was it in a dream? Was it in was it a couple of days ago? You don't. It's just a feeling that you get in your gut. I've been experiencing things like that are impossible to explain, but I just like feel it like that. Different than deja vu though. Like it's not like I've been here before. It's like a weird. Like it's weird. Like I feel something weird, and I'm like, this is the equivalent to like that scene in the Truman Show where he's looking around like this is weird. Except instead of seeing things that are weird, you just feel like there's something that's off. Something is like messing with you. This like the best way I can describe it is just like deja vu. Like you do something and you're like you can't explain where you've seen it or how, but you've definitely been there before. And that's the same like thing I've been experiencing, and I'm one more of those experiences from being like this is all fake. This is all just
So let's say that experience happens, right? And all of a sudden you're like, holy crap. There's something more here than what I've been led to believe. Where do you go from there?
You just like there's no okay, like how does it affect your life, right? It doesn't. If I were to have definitive proof tomorrow that this is all fake, you're fake, my family's fake, this house is fake, the sky is fake, everything is fake, it's all simulation, and you've just been led on. But there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can off yourself, but you're just gonna be dead.
So let me ask you this question.
There was nothing.
If you had the ability to find out that you were living in a simulation and that everything you loved and cherished was not real,
right?
Would you decide to find that information out, or would you decide to keep living your life as you were?
Well, that's just Matrix, red, blue.
Correct.
Red, blue pill. But I would most definitely have the ability to find out. Like I would want to find out. Like that's the same thing as like if you were to have a box that when you opened it there would be absolute unarguable proof that there is either a God or there's no God. And most Christians or any religion is supposed to say that they would not look in there because their faith alone is enough to drive them to know that there is a God. They don't need the proof. They have faith. But if there really was anybody who was faced with that decision, I know I would most definitely. But the thing is, dude, is that like since I don't know, I just don't claim to know, I would most certainly open that box, and no matter what the verdict was, it wouldn't affect my life that much. Because quite frankly, the way I'm living my life right now is knowing that I don't know. Am I going to go to heaven when I die? Am I not? I don't know. I don't pretend that I know. So whether I definitively knew or not would not affect my life at all because I'm living as either one anyways. So by the same theory, whether I knew this was a simulation or not, it wouldn't change the way I live because I'm already living knowing that there's a chance, and there's also a chance that I'm wrong. So if I knew tomorrow that this was all fake and you weren't real but there was nothing I could do about it, I couldn't break out in any way. What good would it do me to change the way?
What if you could?
If I could break out?
What if you had the choice of you can continue living your simulation, your life, your goals, your desires, the people you love, everything, or you can break out and find out what's on the other side and leave all this behind?
That's a very interesting question. Very interesting question. It's just Matrix stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because what is on the other side? You know what I mean?
You gotta go there to find out.
If you go on the other side, is that it? Like you have to like you've.
That is your reality. I mean, you can't go back to the dream after you wake up, right?
Interesting.
These are moral dilemmas that
It is a moral dilemma. I'd probably stay behind. I'd probably stay here. I'd probably stay here just because, like, I think that the one thing that would change in my life if I knew that it was a simulation is that I'd be a lot more carefree than I am. So I'd be fine with living my same reality, knowing that it doesn't really matter in the end.
And that's what you got to think about when you and every one of us thinks life sucks, right? And our lives suck, and this, and that, and why is this happening to me? If you were given the choice, I guarantee you, for the most part, unless you were living a really horrible life, you would choose to stay with what you have because you already cherish and love what you have. And at some intrinsic, subconscious, deep, intimate level, that is your reality and that is your happiness.
The more you think about it, that like dilemma, the more you realize that you are just experiencing your life. Like you're not your feelings. Yeah. You're just experiencing. Like you're just experiencing it. Like it's like if you were to just put on sunglasses and realize that nothing can affect me, nothing can hurt me. I'm just living it. I'm just looking at it like it's a movie. I mean, I would probably. I mean, a lot of people would lose a lot of stress over that. I feel.
Well, and why, and then we understand that, again, it's society, it's the system that pushes all this stress, that pushes all this worry, that pushes all this nonsensical stuff upon humanity as a way of controlling them. Because fear is more about control than anything else. Right. But when you really realize that you're just experiencing your reality and that your reality is made up by you and only you, and that you would do anything to continue experiencing that reality, in most cases, a lot of worry, a lot of trauma, a lot of memories, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of depression would automatically disappear. Because now you would truly understand that your reality is meant to be experienced, good, bad, and all, and that you would not give it up for anything.
Right.
You talk to so many people that seem so bad off, and you ask them, would you trade your life for mine? And they'll be like, no, this is my life. I like my life. I'm going to get out of this. And they have all this hope, and they have all this, desire to change themselves in a way that they're proud of that will never, ever go away. Understanding that and understanding that everything else, that society and the system and the world and your own mind and your own insecurities and your own past and your own memories and the things that have been taught to you and the things that have been forced upon you throughout your childhood and the abuses that you suffer and the injustices that have happened to you are all part of this incredibly dense and complex puzzle that becomes your reality.
Right.
Then you get to appreciate those things. You get to really comprehend who you are as a human being, as a conscious entity, whatever that may mean. And you're happy to explore that every single day instead of trying to run away from it.
Yeah.
A lot of people need to hear that. A lot of people need to understand that that is the nature of your reality. And that a lot of things in that reality that you put inside of it, or that other things, or that other entities put inside of it, are not the true reality that you're living. And you need to understand that. And once you're able to manipulate that reality to the way that you as a consciousness thinks it should go, you can take all those negatives and positives, right? Put them all together. You can have a picture without blacks. You can have a picture without whites. You can have a picture without shadows. It's the entire composition of the colors, of the shapes, of the angles, of the darkness and the light that makes up a reality. And you got to appreciate every single part of it.
Absolutely. A little off topic, but
All right.
I had this like epiphany, right? I might have already told you about this, but I had this like epiphany in music, like in music production, there's this thing called a compressor. You know what that is.
Mhm.
And what a compressor does is that it levels out the audio. So like the really like high parts of it, the really loud parts, it like squashes them down, and the really low parts, it like amplifies them up so that the entire audio is like perfect. So what I've come to realize is that that's like the way life and anxiety works, because when you have a lot of anxiety, the loud sounds, your emotions.
We run out of battery.
We ran out of battery?
The best podcast in the world. I mean, it's a fitting end, right? Like, we started just like this, we're ending just like this.
Yeah, I guess. So what are we gonna do? We're just gonna end it right there?
I mean, keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah. Finish your thought. We run out of mic, folks, so.
Wow. I have no words. Wow. Anyway, as I was saying, get this out of my face. It doesn't even work anymore. When you have like a lot of anxiety in your life, your emotions kind of like numb you a little bit to it. And when you have very little things to worry about in your life, your anxiety like makes those little things a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that anxiety is constantly, whether you have a lot of problems or little problems, I think it's constantly like that. Because like you have little problems, those little problems all of a sudden are getting amplified up. And you have a lot of problems, you're numb to it a little bit so that you don't have as much anxiety. So I think that no matter how big your problem or small your problems are, you're constantly going to be the same, unless you start taking care of your mental health a little bit better and you start realizing that.
So what you're saying is that you need a mind compressor.
I think that you are born naturally with a mind compressor. I think what you need to do is you need to turn down the volume.
Gotcha.
Boom.
And just like turning down the volume like we did right now, we'll see you guys on the next best podcast in the world.
We're technical geniuses. Okay.